because SEO is annoying. It sucks. It's frustrating. It's ambiguous. So we aim to make SEO measurable and accessible to brands while also making it easy for marketing teams to explain to leadership what's happening. Because leadership and C-suites, they don't care about clicks, impressions, events. Maybe they care about like rankings for vanity, but at the end of the day, they care about the business impact and revenue. So how can we help them share the information internally is something that we're also very fond of.
Step into the world of success with Your Brand Amplified, the ultimate podcast designed to unravel the intricacies of thriving businesses. I'm your host, Annika Jackson, and I'm on a mission to uncover the stories, strategies, and secrets that have propelled entrepreneurs and business leaders to success. Jason Berkowitz, the things that you talk about are such a hot topic these days. When we think about SEO, efficacy of Google these days, other types of search that are popping up, there's a lot to unpack there. But I think probably foundationally, of course, it's always the same thing that we need to be thinking about for our brands. So thank you, first and foremost, for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Annika. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So you have an organization, of course, Break the Web, that your goal, your website's beautiful. It's very clean and easy. And you talk about making SEO less annoying for in-house marketing teams. And by looking at your career, you've always been in marketing and entrepreneurship. So I'd love for you to unpack that a little bit. And what was it specifically about search that got you excited?
Yeah, it's a very interesting story because initially search didn't really get me excited, nor was it the plan specifically. I dropped out of college. I was in a physical therapy program and I realized I was there for the wrong reasons. And I just couldn't see myself being a physical therapist, but I didn't know what I was going to do next. I knew I was into fitness, into wellness and health. So I got a job working at Equinox in Tribeca, one of the top gym chains, the most luxurious gym chains to be a part of. And I was kind of reliant on the gym and new membership signups to bring me new clientele. So I had the thought, what if I ranked for personal trainer NYC and had a website? Tribeca being one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in New York City, every apartment has their own gym. So I can just grab a backpack and walk within a 4-mile radius, and a 4-block radius. Why not? that should be sustainable. And then that's what got me into SEO, learning that acronym and then learning what's possible, where at the time SEO was vastly different. It was very spammy, super nerdy, but also click of a button type stuff. And it worked out very well. And that's what got me into SEO, where I was like, yeah, maybe this is my calling. And kind of a paradigm shift from personal training and wellness into complete opposite, just sitting in front of a computer all day.
Yeah, that's a huge shift, but it's also a story that I hear often of people starting with one thing, building a product or trying to solve something for yourself, and then realizing that the way you solved it is probably actually what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah. I've always been to puzzles and challenges. It's kind of where my brain can absolutely focus on, where ADD doesn't kick in. And that's where kind of SEO is. It's taking a look and reverse engineering what's working, what isn't working, and building and solving that puzzle for brands. And that's what got me hooked initially. And very much so, I can't be the only one looking to rank for different type of keywords on Google, and signed up for what was at the time Elance. And now it's Upwork. But that's where I got my first client, and it was off the races from there.
Nice. Well, that was my next question is, how did you find clients? And what was that journey like? Were you able to use SEO as well to rank for the right keywords it's very meta, right? To actually do SEO work for other clients.
And it's funny because some of the best SEOs that I know personally aren't doing SEO on their own brand, on their own website. We try to be different and practice what we preach. So we have some pretty solid SEO if anyone looks up our metrics. But that was the initial calling point. And my first paying client came from Upwork. But I knew a few things. A, I'm already behind. I'm starting from scratch. So I didn't have any clients. I didn't have any proof of success. So I needed to find brands that I can attach my name to and use their logo and create case studies. So I went out to a few different brands and said, hey, can I do 6 months of SEO work for you for free in exchange for testimonial, case study, and infinite usage of your logo as I build my own first website? And some brands were like, no, which I don't get why. There's nothing to lose. And 3 brands said yes. So that allowed me to get my first clients' logos and case studies and proof. I'm not some charlatan or snake oil salesman selling SEO. And then I built a website called SEOservicesNewYork.org, which is still live and still ranking. Hasn't been touched in a while, but that was the initial one. And the positioning of that website was, hey, I'm your trusted expert. You're not going to have $20,000 a month sitting fees. You'll speak to me. I'm the one who will help you and advise you. And then that just helped solidify things. Just, hey, you want SEO? Get SEO from the top ranking SEO website in New York to help you.
Yeah.
So
that seems like a no-brainer in so many ways, but it sounds like maybe you had to continue working as a trainer while you're building your company, especially if you're offering services for free. So when did the shift happen that you're able to say, all right, I can leave this behind or just do this for fun or for my own self, but now I can fully invest my time, energy into building this SEO company?
yeah, I would say I fully let go probably around 2012, but also the last 6 months, I was kind of there just a little bit, just kind of showing my face for a few clients, which they were still giving me health insurance at the time. So they should have kicked me off, but they didn't. So it's kind of still holding on just a little bit for the health insurance benefits. But that started probably around 2010. And in 2012, I think I was full time in SEO. In terms of matching salary and income, that's a different story. But letting go of the full time gig and kind of just being on my own and guiding my day fully 100% was probably 2012.
Yeah. Well, and also coming from personal training, where you said you have health insurance, you're working within the confines of another organization, to becoming a full entrepreneur, having your own business, having to do everything yourself, all the back end stuff that a lot of us don't actually enjoy doing. What was that transition like to figure out, did you have good mentors? Did you have to look things up? Did you just have to kind of figure out your way?
Yeah. It was an emotional roller coaster of awesome excitement. And especially like when you're young in your early 20s, like I think motivation to get things done tends to sometimes be at its highest. So I was happy, excited, scared. I also had people in my ears telling me, no, it's a bad idea. Don't do it. Or even at the time, SEO is dead. I swear was a topic of conversation 15 years ago. And that just also helped fuel me into building something out while also having the right mentors. Mentors is something I'm still a big fan of today, where it's kind of a shortcut to success. Instead of having, you're still going to learn the hard way in entrepreneurship, but having someone who's kind of been through it can help guide you through those most painful moments is very valuable. And with SEO, I couldn't afford an SEO training program, an SEO mentor, but I did offer, a big fan of the value of reciprocation.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to somebody I looked up to, hey, I'll provide workout routines and nutrition programs for you and your family. I'm sure your wife is nagging you about getting healthy, in exchange for just letting me pick your brain for an hour a week.
Nice.
And somebody took me up on it. And that was a lot of really good insights that helped get me started in SEO, which led to me being able to join communities and buy courses, and then building up clientele for real first party data on what works, what doesn't. But mentorship absolutely is something I would recommend for anybody.
Yes. And what does it look like today? Because now you've been in the field for 15 plus-ish years. Obviously, there have been lots of changes. There's been many times people have said SEO is dead. Now everybody's using YouTube or TikTok, or now we're talking about search via chatbots. There's so much, oh, Google's dead now. Oh, now we're moving to video search. All of these different things. What have you seen as the trends that have occurred time and time again? Do we believe this hype? Where do we find ourselves today?
I think there's definitely a change taking place. When and what kind, I still think is yet to be determined. You might remember from a few years ago, voice search was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about voice search. I remember hopping on podcasts like yours, Annika, and talking about how it can help optimize for voice search, but nobody really did anything with it and consumers didn't adopt it. So yeah, the times might be changing, but it really comes down to where consumers are going, how regular searchers are navigating the web. There's, again, most likely an evolution taking place in the way people are searching, and that does include AI platforms, but it also depends on what type of people are using AI platforms versus traditional search. Are people going to use AI platforms to help them identify where to spend their money? Are people going to give their credit card to make a purchase from the AI platforms on a third party? These are all things that are in discussion. So there's definitely a changing of the times and more platforms. What we've done internally was kind of started just tracking data. Really, we built an internal tool called Hugin. Hugin is a crow from Norse mythology, Odin's crow,
Oh,
that
wow.
scours the earth and scours the world and the universe and brings back information to Odin. So we've set up brand monitoring and tracking on the top 4 AI platforms: ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, and Claude, in which we're just tracking prompt responses right now, just to see how our clients are appearing. Outside of that, like you said, it's kind of still foundational SEO to begin with. I think it was the first thing you mentioned, where if these platforms are making real-time searches, where are they making real-time searches? It's been proven. We know for a fact they use Bing, ChatGPT sometimes, and it's been recently proven that they sometimes might make a Google search. So being visible in Google and Bing is still very just back to the old school SEO and the foundations.
You know, as a business owner myself, I can tell you that finding the right people to hire is absolutely brutal. You post a job, get flooded with hundreds of resumes, but somehow still can't find anyone with the actual skills you need. It's like searching for a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter finds amazing candidates for you fast. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/work. Here's what makes ZipRecruiter different. Their smart technology actually identifies the top talent for your specific roles super quickly. The moment you post your job, their matching system starts showing you qualified candidates immediately. Plus, you can reach out to your favorite candidates right away using their pre-written invite to apply messages. No more waiting around, hoping someone will notice your post. Ditch the other hiring sites and let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/work. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/work. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Yeah. And it seems so apparent, but it's also funny to think about because you hear, oh, Google search is down 35% and it keeps dropping. But the chatbots have to get their information from somewhere. And what are they doing? They're searching the internet just like we would.
Yeah, I think they say ChatGPT's internal knowledge still hasn't been updated since April 2024. So, or about probably almost a year and a half. Internal knowledge that's outdated, which is why a lot of people still have frustrations with the data outputs being hallucinations because they don't want to make real-time searches. It's probably super expensive for them to do that versus even just pulling in from their regular database. So it's just interesting all around where people are going to grab their information from.
Yeah. What about AI overviews? Some people love them, some people hate them. Has that been useful for your clients?
Do you love them? I don't know I'm very intrigued to interview the people that have loved them.
Oh, yeah.
I might be in an SEO bubble in that case.
I sometimes look at them, but I get frustrated because when you click through the links, sometimes they're not always relevant. And sometimes it's really hard to actually find the information in the links that they supposedly provide as the proof. So,
Yeah.
but I also find it frustrating to scroll down because I feel like we're also being pushed to a lot more of search engine advertising. So I don't know if you also work in SEA, but you see so many sponsored posts. You see first the AI overview, which can take up half a page. And then you see maybe not just one, not just two, but sometimes 5, 10 sponsored posts, before you even get to organic search.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there is probably value to users when you're looking for a simple answer to a question where somebody might not be in buyer's mode anyways. They're not ready to spend money on a specific service, brand, product, whatever it might be. Like, hey, what's the weather outside? Or what type, like personal one of mine that I did recently, what type of grass is best for this climate to get a grass seed? I was going to go to Home Depot or Lowe's anyways. to buy it. I just need to know which kind. So the interesting part is, yeah, AI overviews are decreasing clicks to websites. Click through rate is going down, but being cited in an AI overview is causing impressions to increase,
Hmm.
especially when all of that data is being aggregated into your regular clicks and impressions in Google Search Console. So if you clicked on an AI overview listing, you don't know if that click got counted. You don't know if it's someone clicking on the AI overviews or the regular search results. And which is also if you appear on page one of Google organically and you're on an AI overview, it's like 2 impressions in one. So it's causing a lot of interesting decreases in click through rates for super top of the funnel informational type queries. But a pivot we've been making anyways, because we help with content marketing, is this the right audience anyways? If people are just looking for a simple answer to a question, what's the point? But maybe more middle of the funnel, someone's looking how to solve a specific issue or where should they spend their money on. And that's where we've kind of went more middle of the funnel with our content.
Mm, okay. And I think that's a really good distinction because it drives me crazy also when I'm just searching something up and then now all of a sudden I'm getting spammed with messages from the company and I'm still like in the awareness stage. I'm not ready to actually investigate further and make a purchasing decision.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just digital marketing as a whole. And the pressure that sometimes marketing teams have is to capitalize on every opportunity, whether it's right or wrong. I can't answer that. I'm an SEO weirdo, but some brands might think, hey, better to just reach out to everybody and get everybody in the funnel and piss off 2 people where 8 others might be kind of intrigued a little bit. But I totally get it. It's creepy when you get those emails. You're like, I didn't give you my email.
Right.
But yeah,
What about Quora, Reddit, these alternate forms? Because I'm seeing a lot of, I mean, even in an organization I work for, the ICL Academy, is seeing, a lot of people are asking about online private schools in those formats. So we need to start doing more SEO work in, alternate realms.
I think it's an interesting conversation because
Hmm.
search engines and hopefully AI platforms want to provide trusted results. Sites that are filled with user generated content, how can the information truly be trusted? Like, I don't do much social media personally, and I do the doom scrolling. It's usually on Reddit, and I'm looking at a lot of the nonsense and the garbage and the toxicity on
Oh,
there,
no.
and that's going to be considered authoritative information to be served up. I think is a very interesting question that, in my belief, might change in the very near future for that exact reason. Especially also now that it is getting spammed by SEOs or just digital marketers plugging their stuff everywhere or creating topics, or some of the hacks they do is like buying aged karma filled accounts on Reddit and making posts from there. So there's a lot of growth hacks there. And I think just providing good service to your customers and building a brand will create that customer loyalty. So hopefully real people respond and maybe suggest your product or brand or leave a review. I think that would be the best recommendation there. It's just hard to game, especially when they also might just change overnight.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I never thought about a platform like Reddit being one where you could buy accounts because you hear about that technique for growth hacking on Instagram. I've had people come to me and say, "Oh, we can grow your brand and here's how we do it. We have all these other accounts that lead back to yours." And like, well, it's not a service I'm interested in anyway. But it's really, I was like, okay, that's not a technique I ever would have thought about. But to think that people are also using it for these other platforms, it's kind of baffling.
Yeah, I think there's a whole nother like dark side to just digital, darker side or gray hat side, maybe that does include, buying age trusted accounts on all different platforms. And then, like, for example, let's say you make a post and then you have another aged account respond to that post with an answer. Then you have others. Then you have what's called karma farming. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of, I mean, it's like back to that reminder, like, don't trust everything you read on the internet that we
Mm,
were told as kids, so to speak,
right.
or the early days of the internet.
Yeah. Well, so what are some strategies that worked 5 years ago, 10 years ago that still are tried and true today? And conversely, what are some techniques that we used to use that you would say red flag, don't do it.
Yeah, I think what's still working today is off-page SEO. So those on-page SEO, which is like 50% of an SEO strategy, aspects of your website, your content, your titles, the way your website is structured. And that's used for signaling relevance, but the problem is everyone could be relevant, you and your competitors. Off-page SEO is used to signal trust. Kind of like, hey, Annika, do you have a plumber you recommend? Yeah, I use ABC Plumber,
Yeah.
i.e. kind of like a backlink in a way. And I'm going to trust ABC Plumber because it came from a trusted source. So backlinks kind of mimic word of mouth. So that's the off-page SEO factor. The quality of backlinks has changed a little bit, but there's still very much a ranking factor, especially in competitive industries. I think that's one thing that still very much has remained the same as an execution model since I've started SEO. It's just evolved significantly over the years, and what you do, how you do it, and what's the type of links you want versus what doesn't do anything. And then just good, solid on-page SEO content where a lot of people now there's conversations about optimizing your content for AI, but why?
Hmm.
Because we've gone from an evolution from optimizing for search engines like Google, no consideration for the user at all and how they might think about your content. I think we've all seen content that like, this is SEO content, this is stupid. So we've gone to a shift of making user-focused content, and in the hopes that Google's natural language processing would get everything properly. But then now we're going again to optimizing for bots. But again, at what cost? Because if people aren't going to have a good experience or they're not going to get what they need from your page, it's not going to make sense. And then there's going to be the point again where maybe in 10 years from now, AI platforms are as good as Google. And then we're back to optimizing for users. So yeah, I think that's an interesting one that is making its bounces back and forth. And we're still fans of just optimizing for users. We think SEO is one marketing vertical of many. And when we're helping with content marketing, we're helping with content that can be used in social, email, paid advertising. And we want it to convert, not without sacrificing the brand message. So I have like a laundry list in my head right now of like things that no longer work and things that are applicable. It's
I love it.
nerdy stuff.
Bring them all on. Because I do think that's such an interesting point is, are we doing the SEO for SEO, right? Because there are a lot of people say, oh, now I can just use AI to create all of my posts and my website and I'm ranking here and here and here, but they're not really thinking, to your point, about the end user. It's not human-centric or customer-centric marketing at that point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're posting content that doesn't have your brand voice, your style, your messaging, your take, and it is all just AI filled just for the purpose of bloating your website and your thought leadership or AI's thoughts, then again, you are doing a disservice and you're wasting time and money on it when you can really create information that has value for your brand, for users, for SEO. It's about finding that good hybrid balance in a way that, again, user first. That's really what you need to do is just focus on what your customers' pain points are and then your brand, your style, your messaging.
So you said you had other thoughts going around your head, other lists of things that you would not recommend to people, but that people still may be thinking are valid. What are some of the other ones?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because I was shared from a collaborator who's a general marketer was sharing with me. He just got like a whole breakdown of another SEO provider's just laundry list of things that they'll include. And there were some aspects in there that I was like, wait, what year is this? In which, if you've been in digital marketing for a while, you might remember things like social bookmarks, blog commenting, web 2.0s. These were strategies that like stopped in like 2015, 2016. But I guess there are some people that are still pitching it. I would definitely love to see a case study. Very much of that still working today. I haven't heard anyone talking about that in a while, but I still think, SEO is a weird one because SEO providers have a little wiggle room in time, which can be bad if someone's a charlatan. It can be good if someone's like, hey, we have a framework and a process. It's going to take some time. You might see a little bit of a flat line, but it's going to happen if we follow the framework. But then on the other side, a bad SEO provider can buy themselves a few good months by like, oh no, SEO takes time, while either doing absolutely nothing or doing things that don't matter. And they may go for a quantity game in clientele versus a quality.
Mm-hmm.
So they might be okay with a 3 or 4 month churn in a client.
Yeah. Well, speaking of quality, going from being a one-person show to now building organizations, what does that look like for you today? How did you scale, or have you, right, effectively, and maintained the quality of you being involved in every single touch point?
Yeah, I still think that's something we're always going to be working on as a founder. It's hard because usually entrepreneurs have some weird ego thing taking place that, oh, I can only do this. No one could do this as good as me, but it's a cognitive bias in which someone else can do something probably better than you because you're wearing many different hats. So I first started delegating probably around 2014, just bringing on a virtual assistant to help with the day-to-day things that I was doing. And I was like, oh, okay, I can let go of this. I can let go of this. Other things were harder to let go of in due time, but delegation very much is an art. And you have to be willing to trust the people that you're working with. Of course, if they do a crappy job, then that puts their job on the line. So properly vetting and finding the right people to help. And then just letting go of hats has been really transformative in a way. Like I hate finance. I hate numbers. I hate math. I hate P&L. I hate booking. I hate all of that. And last year we brought on a head of operations
Hmm.
who took over a lot of the aspects that I was handling, including finance related activities. And that's actually like a part of me was like, I can't, that's the last thing I can't let go of, the money, knowing how much is in the bank and how much I'm making, all these different things. And now I'm at a point where like, thank God someone else has that ownership and I don't have to worry about it. And it's someone I trust. And it's someone that's, her name is Mila. She's growing in the company itself. She's growing professionally herself. And as we grow, she's growing right there with us. So that's been also extremely valuable and just letting go of things, delegating.
Yeah, fantastic. And you talk about content writing and how you really provide, great content. Is there a place for generative AI in content production or brainstorming or any part of your business specifically, or on the operational side as well?
Yes, to both. There's definitely a place. I mean, from an operational side, things that would take you half an hour are now done in a minute or less. So that allows a lot of capacity to open up from various different people, teams, departments, workflow. So definitely yes, from an operational perspective. And then with content production, we definitely use generative AI in various different facets, depending on what we need it for, whether it's outlining, whether it's grabbing information or insights, whether it's creating a very, very rough draft that definitely goes through a very particular editing process before it goes live. It does make things a little bit easier in running a business, creating an article that maybe would take 10 hours, which includes research, writing, writers who will go back and scratch things off and then rewrite again. It definitely has helped writers, especially writers that we work with, writers that work at Break the Web with their process. So they're very happy where they can get avoid writer's block. Writer's block. I'm not a creative. I'm a technical guy, but I know writer's block is a real thing. So if they can have some tools to help them and guide them, even if the generative output of an article isn't what they want, they're closer to knowing what they do want, which helps them produce really awesome content.
Yeah, true. What are the ideal kinds of clients that you work with at Break the Web?
Yeah. Our ideal client are internal marketing teams of D2C, B2C brands that, like you said, are looking to make SEO less annoying because SEO is annoying. It sucks. It's frustrating. It's ambiguous. So we aim to make SEO measurable and accessible to brands while also making it easy for marketing teams to explain to leadership what's happening, because leadership and C-suites, they don't care about clicks, impressions, events. Maybe they care about like rankings for vanity, but at the end of the day, they care about the business impact and revenue. So how can we help them share the information internally is something that we're also very fond of.
Yeah, nice. And I saw, of course, on your profile that you also are a skydiver. How does that play into the creativity and aspects of your business? Does it give you just an outlet? Do you ever Are you ever skydiving and you come up with business ideas or, new strategies, or do you kind of keep them part and parcel?
Thankfully, I'm not actually thinking about work at all when I'm out there. And I think maybe that's a reason why, outside of the thrill and the excitement, I can go on forever about that. I like to consider it like a mental vacation. We all need time away from things that, I mean, entrepreneurship is a giant emotional roller coaster sometimes.
True.
The highs are so awesome, but the lows also sometimes might be very lonely and painful. And it's a lot of up and downs. One day might be awesome. One day might be like, you know,
Yeah.
so skydiving requires you to be in the moment, requires you to be in the zone in a great way because, it's dangerous. You got to be aware of everything that's taking place. So I consider it a mental vacation. I think others might find it more stressful, intense. For me, it's just having fun. And at the drop zones, like everybody from every walk of life and different status and in society, at the end of the day, when you're there, you're all just jumpers. So status and titles and what people do, you might be hanging out with someone who lives in a van in the parking lot, or you might be with a high-powered attorney, and it doesn't matter because everyone's jumpers there.
What is one thing that an organization should either do if they're starting out to set up SEO appropriately, or maybe they have an established business, but they just need a refresh and kind of put some new thoughts into the way that they're approaching their business?
If you have the means, either hire someone internally or hire a third-party agency. Because if you're a small brand and you're the founder, or there's someone there who wears many hats, maybe on their operations side, and now they're being tasked with marketing, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of changes still very much taking place. So I would recommend to delegate just from a sanity level. You'd be doing yourself, your team, a favor, and that could very well be an SEO specialist in-house or a marketer that is well equipped to know the foundations of SEO as well and could handle paid, email, social. I think that is, I used to give out tips of like, hey, make sure this, make sure that. And it's funny because sometimes, okay, entrepreneurs might be listening and they're like, I'm going to take down this note, but it never gets done anyways.
Yeah.
So delegate to someone trusted or get advice because SEO optimizations might be different on a brand level.
Nice. So to that point, are there resources that people would find on your website? Do you have, a cheat sheet they can use or a webinar or anything like that? Or do they just need to jump straight to scheduling a call to find out more?
Yes, just jump right into a sales call. Be the best thing that you can do, and it'll save us a lot of time. No, I'm kidding. We do have some content that we publish and refresh on all different subjects. We're also getting more particular with our content because very much a lot of our traffic is coming in from super top of the funnel queries that isn't going to convert. So we're getting even more intentional with our content, kind of like for brands that maybe are on Shopify, e-commerce brands that are thinking about how to optimize their PLP or collection pages. You have an article on, hey, here's how to do it. If you need help, we can help you. But here's what you need to do to optimize correctly your collection pages. So we do have resources and content, but I also hop on tons of podcasts like this, just rant about SEO and AI.
Fantastic. Is there any other little piece of advice or nugget that you want to add that we haven't discussed? Because of course we'll have your website in the show notes and a link to your LinkedIn and all of that.
I think just reminding again that SEO is not dead, and SEO, what worked a year ago, is still very valid today.
Okay. Nice.
That's it.
So Jason, my last question, do you have a favorite quote, mantra, verse, poem, family motto?
Yeah. But I feel like as I got older, it might be cliche, but it's people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So the late, great Maya Angelou quote from her. But I guess it's kind of cliche. I don't know. Sometimes I see it places I was like, no, that's my quote, but it's not. But that's kind of, with marketing, with communication, especially now with things being more digital, it's harder to make a real impact in relationships with people. So even on Zoom or webinars or Google Meet, if you can still give them a good lasting feeling at the end of a conversation, then you were successful there.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I've enjoyed our conversation. I'm glad to hear SEO is not dead. And it's a great reframing for When I'm talking to students, for instance, about SEO and different strategies and talking about, oh, now everybody's moving to search and here's what you need to, or to, chatbots and LLMs and here's what you need to do. But it's a good reminder to me that they are all still scraping the internet, going to Bing, going to Google to get the information. So you can't just ignore those platforms. So I think this was really refreshing and a good way to kind of take us back to the basics of what it looks like and what we should be considering. So I really appreciate that you brought that to the table.
Thank you for guiding me there, Annika. I appreciate it.
Of course. So thank you to everybody also who's watching this episode or listening to it on your favorite platform. I'll be back again with another amazing guest to also share their story, their journey. And of course, you can reach out to Jason by clicking through the show notes for Break the Web's website and Jason's profile on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening or watching to this episode of Your Brand Amplified. Don't forget to leave us a rating or review on your favorite podcast listening platform. And if you want to learn more, check us out at yourbrandamplified.com.